Blue light. "Oh shit, Austin. Get the light," I whispered. Robbie flicked the switch, but Johnny McKeon's office didn't go dark. The glass globe with the pulsating black shit in it wriggled and burned with a blue light. It was like writhing cobalt embers trapped inside the sphere of the glass. The thing in the sphere, whatever it was, obviously responded to light. Hiding was our only option, but there was no place inside Johnny's office that was very suitable. Robbie pointed at the desk. We pulled Johnny's chair out and huddled together, hugging each other in the small rectangular space below the desk. We were just like that poor two-headed boy floating in the fluid in the jar. We didn't even think to lock Johnny's office door behind us. Why would anyone have thought to do such a thing? Because it would have been smart, I told myself. The knob on the door squeaked and turned. There were footsteps. Someone came into the office. I put my face down on the floor and looked from under the desk. There were several sets of feet there. Someone said, "What the crap is that?" The shoes were positioned so whoever was inside with me and Robbie was looking at the mysterious globe. "It's alive," another voice concluded. "People always said Johnny McKeon kept weird shit in here. Maybe it's an alien or something." Robbie's fingers squeezed around my arm. We both knew that voice. It was Grant Wallace. He and his boys had somehow gotten into from attic to cellar. "Let's take that shit," the kid named Tyler said. "You're carrying it. It looks heavy," Grant said. "I don't want that shit. I came for the booze. Let's go." The Hoover boys apparently found their way into the back room connecting Tipsy Cricket with the second-hand store. They probably broke into the abandoned foot doctor's office to do it. It was a simple matter. For all anyone knew, Grant and his boys may have been planning their theft from the Tipsy Cricket for a long time. It probably had everything to do with why we ran into them at the Grasshopper Jungle earlier that day. Technically, our encounter with Grant Wallace happened the day before, since it was solidly past midnight in our time zone, which was located under the desk in Johnny McKeon's office. "Is that a dick?" one of the boys asked. "It's a dick," another concluded. "Johnny Mac has a dick in a bottle in his office," Grant affirmed. "Maybe it's his," one of Grant's friends said. "Let's take it," another of them said. "I'm not touching it. It's a jar with a dick in it." I think Tyler said that. "Oh yeah," someone said. "And balls too." "That's sick. I'm not touching it. Hang on, I'm going to take a picture of that dick in a jar with my phone," the videographer decided. "Text it to me," one of the Hoover boys laughed. I desperately wish they'd stop talking about the penis in the jar, but Grant and his friends were like lonely parakeets in front of a mirror. Finally, after they'd exhausted all speculation and conversational rhetoric on the topic of penises in jars, the boys stood there numbly for a moment, apparently unable to detach their eyes. I heard the sound of something heavy and solid sliding on one of the shelves. The blue shadows in the room swirled. Tyler had lifted the globe. It was not a good idea. "Let's go. I'm thirsty," he said. They left the door to Johnny's office standing open. The blue light danced away into the darkness of the back room and then faded entirely. I grabbed Robbie's wrist and pulled him out from our hiding place. Then I led him back through the shop and up the ladder to the roof. Priorities. Robbie, Breeze, and I had our priorities. As soon as we closed the hatch and were outside the roof again, we lit cigarettes. Smoking dynamos. "Shit," Robbie said. "Shit," I agreed. Shit, like the word okay, can mean a number of things. In fact, in the history, I recorded in my book for that one Friday in Ealing, Iowa. I believe I used the word shit in every possible context. I'll have to go back through the history and check. Robbie and I said shit, nothing else, approximately 11 more times as we smoked our cigarettes up on the roof. "What do you think all that shit in the ball was?" Robbie said. "I don't know. You had the nameplate on it. It said contained plague," Nothing good is ever called plague, Robbie said. Maybe it's just some glow-in-the-dark experimental stuff, I said. I've done an experiment. We made a battery out of a lemon. Remember that? Robbie asked. Yeah, it was a good experiment, I agreed. I nodded like a scientist would. We knew what was supposed to happen before we even started it. And it worked. But I don't think things called plague are the subject of the kind of experiments we do in a lab at Curtis Crane, Robbie said. That's what it was. What Robbie and I had done up there on the roof in the Grasshopper Jungle. I thought. An experiment. It was perfectly normal for boys to experiment. I read it somewhere that was definitely not in a book at Curtis Crane Lutheran Academy. Or if it was in a book, it would certainly no longer be a part of Curtis Crane Lutheran Academy's library collection. Not after the shit I did in 8th grade. Maybe I heard some psychologists who specialized in teen sexuality say shit about things like boys experimenting on one of those afternoon talk shows that are only on television for the fulfillment of depressed and lonely women. Depressed and lonely women need to know about teen sexuality and how it's normal for boys to experiment. Normal. That's what the psychologist would say. The psychologist who would have been a slim woman in a nicely trimmed hair, with nicely trimmed hair, a sincere and calming smile, and modest jewelry. That was bullshit. History shows that real experiments, like the one did with the lemon, always involve some reasonable expectation ahead of time about the outcome, about how things will work out. Robbie slid the pack of cigarettes into the back pocket of his sagging jeans, and we gathered up our flamingo, wine, grimacing lemur, and skateboards. We made our way down the ladder and onto the dumpster. We'd rolled across Grasshopper Jungle. Don't say anything to Shan, I cautioned. I didn't need to tell Robbie that. It was just one of those things boys do sometimes to confirm that there are secrets that shall be protected. Robbie said, You mean about what we saw in her stepdad's office? Or what we did up on the roof? I said, Shit. I imagined I had 2 arguing and confused heads sprouting up from my shoulders. I felt sadness for that other boy inside the jar in Johnny McKeon's office. Okay. Okay. Shan was sleeping Hell breaks loose. Shan was sleeping soundly in the back seat of Robbie's Ford Explorer when we came back to the car. She stretched out comfortably, with her head lying on some crumpled socks and a pair of Robbie's boxers that had fire trucks and Dalmatians on them. Watching Shan sleep made me horny. I was all messed up. I thought I probably needed to talk to someone about how sexually confused I felt. I couldn't talk to Robbie about it, not after what we did on the roof, I thought, but only for half a second about talking to Pastor Roland Duff. But I already felt guilty as it was. I thought I could talk to my father. It scared me to think about doing that, but my father would know what to tell me. He could help me sort things out. I just needed to work up the courage to start the conversation. Then everything would fall into place. Everything always falls into place that way. Shan? I whispered. I ran my hand up her leg to wake her. She opened her eyes slowly and she smiled at me. I felt guilty and sad. Did you and Robbie already go? I said yes, but didn't tell her we'd been gone for over an hour. It was nearly 2 a.m. Robbie opened their Explorer's rear gate and deposited our flamingo, the grimacing lemur head, skateboards, and wine bottles. We already held an unlit cigarette in his mouth when he got behind the wheel. Robbie passed the pack to me and started the engine. We let